Hello everyone, welcome to College Preview Day webinar for the Applied and Media Arts programs, including Animation and Graphics, Graphic and Communication Design, and Game Development. My name is Colby Flanagan, and I'm a recruitment advisor with NBCC. And with me tonight, I have three of your instructors, Ainsley, Debbie, and Norma. Before we begin, I do have a little bit of housekeeping. So first and foremost, this session is recorded. It will be available early next week. Secondly, you will see that on top of your banner, you have a microphone and camera. Please keep these turned off for the duration of the presentation, but at the end, you are more than welcome to come on, show your face, say something, say hello, maybe ask a question to your instructors or myself. And then you also have a chat, so it should be populated on the right-hand side of your screen. If it's not, go to the top of the banner here again, and there's a little conversation bubble. Click there and it will populate. During the presentation, you may ask questions there. So that's all for my housekeeping. I'm now going to hand it over to the instructors and they will give their presentation.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Colby. Nice to meet you, everyone, virtually, even though it's virtually. My name is Debbie Larson, so I'm one of the three instructors. I'm with the animation department. We also have Norma McLean, who is with game development, and we also have Ainsley Cronin, who, and Ainsley, I'm not sure if I'm saying your name right, so you can correct me if I did. Sorry about that. Ainsley is with the graphic design program. So we're going to split this session up a little bit. We thought we'd start first off by giving a brief overview, and we're going to combine the animation and graphics and the game electronic game design program together. Those are both on the Miramichi campus. So we'll spend a few minutes going through some items on that and some probably areas of interest for you guys, and hopefully we'll answer some of your questions before you even have a chance to ask them. Then what we'll do is switch over and Ainsley will give her presentation, and we will finish off with the time for some Q&A from you guys. So feel free, feel comfortable to ask any questions that you think might be relevant. If you're thinking about it and wondering about it, chances are somebody else is also wondering about the same question. So we thought we would start tonight's session just by allowing you guys to just tell us who you are. You don't have to do that verbally, but we thought we would get you guys just to use the chat right out of the gate so that you start to get comfortable with it. So Microsoft Teams is the format that we use for our virtual classes. So this is something that you will be using next year in your studies. So as Colby mentioned, up at the very top, you'll see a little talk bubble there. So if you click on that, it should open up the meeting chat. So I'd like everybody just to take we're going to only take 5 minutes, and just type in your name. So I'd like to see your name. So I'm just going to show you. Debbie Larson, I'm an instructor, and I'm from Miramichi. And I'm also...
Debbie, I was just going to say, could I jump in and ask them if they could just put in what program they're in? Yeah, so just to give us an idea.
That's something else that I was actually, Norm, I wanted them to put their program, where they're from, and then we'll have a bit of an idea for that as well. And you can also, everyone, add an emoji down at the very bottom. So there's all kinds of fun emojis here. So it's a way of personalizing things a little bit. So you can go in and just add an emoji just to tell us what your current mood is even. Here's Jacob. Hi, Jacob. So Jacob from Moncton, and you're going to be doing video game dev. Perfect. So we'll just take a few minutes and do that. Nancy for graphic design. Excellent. Braden, graphic design. Awesome. Lindsay in animation and graphics from Beersford. Perfect. Bryce Harrison. Static game development. Excellent. Still in Brazil, coming to Miramichi. That would be quite a commute, so it's a good thing you're moving. And Emma from Hampton, graphic communications. Venezuela. Perfect. Brazil for graphic design. Excellent. Oh, it's so awesome to see so many people from all over. Jason from South Africa, going to study game development. Excellent. David from Mexico. Fantastic. Graphic design. Ecuador, perfect. Jennifer from Moncton, fantastic. Excited to see lots of international. Yeah, we sure are. That's fantastic. Okay. If anybody else wants to add to it, by all means, feel free to do that. So we will go ahead and get started. It is wonderful to see so many international students. It always adds such a fun and interesting dynamic to the class and a lot of different perspectives. So that's always really exciting for us to see that. So even though this first presentation is mostly focused on animation and graphics and the electronic game design program, you're going to still see some information throughout this presentation that will also be relevant to you and to your program. So we'll go ahead and we'll get started, and we'll take about 10 minutes or so and go through this part of the presentation, maybe a little bit longer than that. So as I said a few minutes ago, this one is going to focus on animation and graphics and electronic game design. So myself and Norma will be looking after this. So incidentally, Norma and I have been working together for over 20 years now. We've both been with the college. I know it's a long haul. We've both been with the college for, I guess it's over 20 years now. And before COVID, we shared an office together. So we're pretty much, when we're at work on campus, a lot of the times people laugh at us because we're pretty much joined at the hip. So we can sometimes finish each other's sentences. A lot of times we come to work dressed in the same color, so it's kind of spooky. I think you're muted, Nora.
Okay, I said, yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I just want to mention too, I see that we have on here, it says electronic game design.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be, we're removing the electronic, but it's game development. That's the program you're coming into. So you guys will be starting off in the fall with game development. Yeah, the name has changed slightly, so.
All right, so to start with, one of the questions that people generally have is just regarding computer software. What kinds of software am I going to be learning? And a lot of times people like to know that early on because it gives you an opportunity. It's only, I guess we're into the 1st of June now, but this gives you even a few months now. If you had time over the summer, you could start to familiarize yourself with some of this software if you decided that that's something that you want to do. But the software will all be included with your programs, so just keep that in mind. So you will not be required to buy any additional licenses. As soon as you're registered for the program, you will, once you start in September, you will have access to a variety of different programs. So for the animation program, actually for everybody, Microsoft Office Suite is something that everybody has. Toon Boom Harmony is specific to animation. Storyboard Pro is specific to animation. The Adobe Suite is actually specific to everybody that is here tonight. So graphic design and game design and the animation program all have access to the Adobe Suite. Game design also does Unity, Unreal, and other gaming software as well. So if you did want to try to access some of the software before, you can go to the websites, go to the Adobe website or go to the Toon Boom Harmony website, and you can access just 30-day trial software versions of it. So that's something that if you are really new to this, you might want to take a peek at it just to start to kind of get yourself a little bit comfortable with what the interface looks like even. Next up, one other thing to consider is the actual computer specifications. So it's important to note that all of the programs at NBCC are considered live programs. What this means is that everybody requires a laptop. So there are laptop specifications, and I'm just going to copy and paste this link. The link is on here, but I'm just going to put it right into the chat for you guys as well. So this link here, if you haven't looked at it already, will give you the specifics for your individual program as to what you need for a laptop. Be very careful with this when you're purchasing it. Make sure that it does meet at least the bare requirements. I always tell the students if you can go up even a little bit from what the bare minimum is, it's not a bad idea. The reason for that is the software that we use and that you guys will be using, it's very greedy as far as processing power goes and video cards go. So you do need the right computer for this type of work and certainly for this type of schooling that you guys are going to be doing. So make sure that you follow those guidelines very carefully. That's really important. Specific just to animation is tablet options. So you will also find some information regarding a tablet on this link as well. There are a variety of tablets that you can access, that you can use. The biggest thing to remember for that is these few little requirements here, which you can also find on the website. So your minimum level of pressure sensitivity and your minimum display, these are important. But as far as which one you choose, that is up to you as long as it meets the minimum requirements. There's a wide range as far as costs go for these different ones that you're looking at here. And our students have been successful with the ones that are good examples of minimum sensitivity as far as the pressure sensitivity goes and the size, right up to the more expensive ones. So you don't need the most expensive one for a tablet. Just make sure again that you do have at least the minimum requirements for that.
Debbie, there's a question in the chat there. You just maybe if you're addressing the specs.
Okay, yeah. A desktop computer will not be sufficient for the animation program. No, it will not be, because the program is going to be blended. So that means some of your classes are going to be online and some of your classes will be in the studio, but you will only be in the studio 2 days a week. So you're not going to want to travel back and forth with a desktop computer. That would be a bit of a nightmare, I think. So you should have a laptop. Hopefully that answers that question. Okay, so moving along. So this particular slide here is, this is relevant to everybody. So this kind of covers basically what college life looks like as far as how the terms are set up, how your curriculum and courses are set up. So I had an email from a student that's coming in September the other day, and they were wondering if they could pick from a list of courses. And the way the community college works with these programs that you guys have signed up for, we have a specific set of curriculum and a specific set of courses that have to be, and that will be followed term by term. It's a 2-year program, so there's a lot to cover within that 2 years. So we generally, and in our programs, don't have electives. So everything is very specific, and some of the courses are cumulative. Some of them build on each other throughout the terms. And the other thing to remember here is that we started following just last September what's called a 717 model. So you will hear us refer to your terms that way. What that means, really, we have 3 terms. So we're not like a lot of the universities either. We go right till the end of June. So you'll start September to December, and then you will go January to April, and then you will go May and June for a shorter term. Within each of those sessions, you will have what's referred to as a session A and a session B with a student success week in between that. So session A is 7 weeks long. Then you will have a study break that's a week long. Then you will have session B, which is another 7 weeks. Some of the session A or session B could be compressed versions of a course within that session. But for the most part, for animation, and I believe for the game development, your terms will run the full duration with a reading week in between, breaking it up a little bit. So I don't know if that makes sense or not to everybody. Is that clear? It's a little bit hard to wrap your head around, but will we have access to workrooms more than just 2 days a week? Lindsay, are you referring to animation specifically too? For animation, right now, it's 2 days a week. And that's, with COVID, everything is changing. Yes, okay. So with COVID, everything is changing. One of the things we're trying to do, though, is at least have access to the rooms, even if there's not classes being held at that time. And the reason for that is if you wanted to use the internet, you'd be able to do that from the building as well. But you still should have your own stable connections, internet connections, just in case anything happens as well. So chances are you will have access to the workrooms as long as everything keeps going the way it's going. But right now you can count on 2 days a week for sure for animation, and that is going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays. Can we visit it more than 2 times a week? Possibly, hopefully, yes. But again, we're still kind of, we're still waiting for sure on that to make that known for sure. We're hoping that will be, that the building will be available more. But, again, we're not 100% sure about that yet. Norm, did you want to add in something there?
I was just going to say, tentatively right now, we are looking at Mondays and Wednesdays as the class face-to-face time for the game development students. So I think those days will be full days. Now,
Yes.
we have to look also that we have first years and second years. So those are the 2 days so far. There may be changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the way the animation studios are set up, we have 2 big studios, one for first years and one for second years. So you would have, technically you have a space and there's dividers in between them. So we're hoping that, that you will at least have access to the building more. Okay, so that hopefully answers those questions. And, everyone, if we don't answer your questions tonight and you walk away from here and you think of something tomorrow, we'll put our emails in before we leave here tonight as well. So if you think of something, you can shoot us a message, and I know all of these ladies will be quick to get back to you. Quick breakdown for curriculum for animation. It is a combination of traditional and digital. What that means, traditionally, you will be doing a lot of hands-on pencil to paper drawing. That's what we consider traditional type drawing, and it will be in the format of life drawing material. So sometimes that might mean you're actually drawing from a live model, and you're using literally old school pencil and paper with your life drawing skills. The digital part of it is obviously your laptop and your computer, and that's when you will be learning a variety of different things. So your digital will be inclusive of your software, so your Adobe Suite and your Toon Boom Harmony. And the blended delivery portion of this, what that's referring to is some of your courses will be online, some of your courses will be most of your courses are going to have an online portion. So even the ones that there is a lot of, hands-on traditional work for, like life drawing, you're still going to have an online component for that particular course. So that's what we mean when we refer to our courses as it's a blended delivery. So some online, some face-to-face. Depending on what the course is, there might be more for some, more online, or more hands-on face-to-face for some of the courses, depending on what it is. So for animation, examples of some of the courses that you're going to study over the course of 2 years will be visual design courses, where you'll learn about the elements and principles of design, color theory. You'll learn a little bit about typography. You'll also be learning a good portion of the Adobe suite, so programs like Illustrator, Photoshop, Adobe Animate, and Premiere Pro are the main ones that we touch on. You'll also be using Toon Boom Harmony and Storyboard Pro for animating and creating animatics. You'll be doing life drawing, perspective, character design, layout courses. You'll have a story reel course that will focus on a lot of portfolio work / demo reel work. And of course, you'll have storytelling courses. And we also do a lot of portfolio building as well, so that when you leave the program, you leave it with a lot of material that will help you to recruit a job. So you'll have a demo reel, you'll have a print portfolio or a PDF of a portfolio. You'll also be creating a website, and of course, resumes and different things like that as well. So that's kind of an example of that. So Norm, I don't know if you want to kind of just...
Sure, I'll jump in.
Sure.
Okay, so for the game program, it all seems so weird because we're working really hard today with the second year students getting ready to graduate. So we're wrapping everything up, and now we have this whole new fresh crew of students coming in. So it's pretty exciting. So this is a blended delivery, again, classroom face-to-face and online portions for your 2-year studies. And when you take game development, you are coming in, just so that you all know this, because we often have some students coming into the program and they're not quite sure what the program entails. And we actually find quite quickly that some students are more visually focused for gaming as opposed to programming. But this is primarily a programming diploma. So when you're finished, you will be a game programmer, okay? Now, depending on where your math is a big part of the programming, as you can imagine. And so if you need to maybe tune up some of your math skills before you come in and look at that, because math is one of the telltale of how you're going to move forward in your success, because there is a big component when you get into your scripting and your JavaScripting and learning Python and so on. So you want to make sure that you have your math in pretty good shape. Also, gaming engines. We work in Unity right now, building games. I don't know if many of you have heard of Unity, but it's one of the industry required ones. Also, we had some students in previous years doing Unreal Engine and exploring a little bit with that. So our game engines are Unity and Unreal. We also do a very little bit of storyboarding, basic sketching and tracing, and that has more to do with working on a game idea. You're going to find with the game programming, there's a lot of projects. So you're in a lot of different teams when you're building. Because if you think about it, going to the real world, you're going to be going into studios where you're working in a team. So we're going to be using that as our model to get you ready for industry. So when you first come in, there's a course called Design Foundations, and I teach it. And it's your first step into kind of pulling together a game idea with a team of students. And so we actually Sorry?
Eles acharam?
Somebody's mic is, yeah. so we get you to mock up a few little storyboards, maybe build a few little characters, just sketch them out to kind of, you take your story idea for a game and you present it to industry. So you're pitching your game. So that's kind of your little art piece of your program. We also do digital design imaging, which I also teach the first in September. So when you're coming in, you're going to have me for that one too. So you get to do some game kind of featured ideas with Photoshop. So that's always, students tend to have a lot of fun with that. I keep the Photoshop very game focused. Excuse me. As I mentioned to before, there's a lot of project development. So you're always working on teams. So the only thing I want to jump in and mention here with the game that's not on there is, even though it's a lot of hard work and a lot of team projects, there's also some real unique pieces to the game development program. And those are some of the industry events that happen. And depending on COVID, of course, but the second year students get to go up to Montreal, if everything's good with COVID, to the MIGS game career summit. So that happens only for second years. We also have our own Atlantic Jalou Animation and Game Festival here in Miramichi. There's also global game jams that we have in the winter. And we're always encouraging students, both animation and game students, to get together and build a game over a 2-day period sometimes, or a 1-day period. So there's all kinds of fun things to do too. And we also have partnerships with the Department of National Defense in Gagetown here in New Brunswick, where you can get a chance to go down and do a 1-year intern with them. So there's all kinds of really exciting things and opportunities, and we haven't even touched on some of the other articulations and such, but that gives you maybe a little briefing of what to expect coming into the game programming.
Okay, so I'm going to try to, there's still a few slides here, but I'm going to try to go through these a little bit more quickly maybe, because I want to make sure we leave lots of time for Ainsley here as well. Thanks, Norm. Okay. And then I'd like to leave time, a few minutes at the end too, for additional questions. So I'm just going to, and then maybe we'll go back to some of these. I see Ainsley's answering a few of them, so that's great too. So, okay, so a typical day in the studio. Norma mentioned this already. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but there are a lot of projects. So, and for animation, obviously, hopefully you like to draw, because you will be spending a great deal of your time drawing. Whether it's traditionally or digitally, and there are a lot of projects. The good news about that is that you don't have a lot of tests in animation. There's some, but not a lot, but there's a lot of projects. So obviously managing your time is really, really important. Now, the other ladies on some of the other courses, there are more tests and there are some exams. I know in game there's you know, a lot of math and things like that. So you can expect tests and exams with that as well. You can also expect to do presentations. So, you know, in animation and game and graphic design, a lot of the work, we expect you guys to present and showcase it and give one another feedback, and peer review is a really valuable aspect of the program as well. So that's also important. The passing grade for every course is 60, and you do need every course to pass. So unlike high school, where you can miss a course here or there, or pick from different electives, with the programs here, you have to pass it. So you do need a pass mark of 60 in order to be successful in it, and you do need all of the courses as well. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. Norma mentioned this briefly. There are a lot of different festivals that our students are in. So before COVID, they were traveling to MIGS in Montreal and the Ottawa Film Festival for animation. Obviously, we haven't been able to do that the last year, but that may be something that we will be able to pick up again. It's still something virtually that is being offered, so there is still potential to participate in some of these other festivals at a different level. Jaloo is one as well, and then the game jams. And I see Dario had a question, what's it like to participate in the events? The events are a lot of fun. It's really hands-on, especially this global game jam that Norma mentioned, which is something that the gamers and the animation students participate in a few times a year. And some of this stuff as well, the graphic design students, especially with Jaloo, going forward, will also be participating in that too. So that's kind of exciting. It's a really good mix and a really good crossover as well. So they are a lot of fun, lots of energy. Lots of different studios, lots of different studio examples for for game design and for animation. Just a quick glimpse as to where they are at. A lot of these studios a lot of them are in Halifax, but some of them are in Ontario. One of them is in Miramichi, so one of them's in PEI. They're kind of spread out all over. Types of jobs that you can expect when you are finished with animation. Obviously an animator, a layout artist, storyboarding, rigging, illustrators. You may be doing an animatic, voice acting, which is always really fun. Art producers, animation directors, and even producers, or may be able to work your way up to that type of a job. For game developers, game programmers, game developers, game level designers, interactive media developers, programmers, game testing, Q&A, and web game and programmers as well. And the other little thing to note there is sometimes students will even become entrepreneurs and consider starting their own company. So that's also an option. Articulation agreements, and again, just to make you aware, an hour is not a whole lot of time, as we all know. And once you get 3 instructors on a format like this and 20 students, an hour could go in the blink of an eye. But just to let you guys know, we do have articulation agreements. So what that means is we have agreements with other universities and organizations where you could study for a couple of years at NBCC and then further your studies at another university. So D&D Gagetown, UMB Computer Science, UMBSJ, Limerick University in Ireland, and St. Stephen University as well. So those are just a few articulation agreements that we have. And I'm not going to go into this a whole lot. Obviously, when you're starting college, balance, the keywords that I would take from this one are balance and attitude. So those are the two personally that stick out for me on this particular slide, just because I know with the amount of programs that you guys have, with the amount of assignments and, different projects that you'll be working on, keeping a college life balance is really important for your own mental health and just for staying on top of things. And having a great attitude is going to take you places as well. Oh, thanks, Colby, for sharing that. So that's a nice pathway that Colby's put up too for different agreements. And yeah, so that kind of wraps that up a little bit. I know there was a question up here as well about auditing other courses at the same time. That is hard to do. One thing I didn't mention is that most of your classes are going to run from 8:30 in the morning till roughly 4:30. So either 8:30 to 4:30, some are 8:30 till 3:30 with an hour for lunch. And that's generally how the schedule goes. And it's usually pretty full. So it would be really hard to audit another course in another program. It's not that it's not possible. It is certainly with online, but as Ainsley mentioned, that would be something you would have to discuss with Heather Fowler, who is our academic chair for all of these programs that we're going over tonight. So I hope that helps a little bit for for animation and game. I know it's a lot to kind of try to take in. So we're just trying to, get as much information out to you guys as we can, even if it's just kind of the tip of the iceberg, so that you kind of get a feel for who we are as people, as instructors, and as far as, what you can expect once you actually begin the program. So hopefully that helps. I put my email in here as well, so you can feel free to reach out to me anytime. And if I can help you, I will. And if I can't, I'll find somebody that will help you. So maybe we will wrap up with these two and we will give Ainsley the floor now. I will stop sharing my screen and we'll give Ainsley some time and hopefully have some time at the end for a few questions too, just in case, or if you guys want to turn your cameras on at the end, you can as well.
Hi, everyone. I am just going to get my screen shared and we will get going. You will notice that NBCC is all about branding. So you'll see our presentations have a very similar look and feel. But I really want to thank Debbie and Norma because they covered a lot of like college life in their presentation. So this is going to be really focused on the graphics and communications design program. And there will be some overlap in what you're hearing, but yeah, I'll get going. Just to let you know, I cannot see the chat right now, but when I'm done my presentation, I'll go back and answer any questions that came up in the chat. So thanks. So, you know, our program is for creative experts, and we're going to teach you how to produce memorable content. Okay, so it starts with planning and then, you know, creating these ideas, producing these ideas, and then actually presenting them to a client. So, you know, when Debbie and Norma were talking about you're going to be doing some presentations, you absolutely are going to be doing some presentations, and we're going to teach you all of those steps moving up. So really, in a world where there's billions of images uploaded each day, businesses are always looking for trained and talented designers who know how to stand out and really capture the attention. So these are just some of the things that you'll do as a graphic designer. And basically, if you read it, if you see it, or you get a message from it, then a graphic designer or a graduate from this program probably had something to do with it. The next two slides are the courses that you will take over the next 6 terms. And as Debbie explained, we have a fall term, a winter term, and a spring term. Summer off, and then we repeat it again the second year for all of these programs. I just have broken them down on the next 2 slides by what you take. I had a handout created for tonight that I was going to post, but for some reason it's not allowing me to attach that handout, which breaks all of these down. So I will send you, oops, I'm just trying to get back to the meeting. I'm sorry, guys. I am going to press enter right now. And this is a link, if it will let me. This is a link that is going to show you all of the courses. It doesn't lay them out by term, but it certainly gives you all of our courses and a little bit of a description about them. So first term fall, we start off, you know, really small. You know, we come in with the expectation that you've never touched Photoshop, you've never touched Illustrator. We do a lot of the soft skills. Winter term, your technology is getting a little bit more complicated. You're getting into InDesign, and we move on from there. Second year, it looks like you have a lot fewer courses, and you absolutely do. However, there are a lot bigger courses. So this is where you're going to start pulling all the elements together for your portfolio. So, you know, your print production, your publication design, branding. So for example, in second year, that first term, you are actually going to brand either yourself, but often we bring in a company and you will work on branding that company. So creating their visual identity standards, coming up with their logo, putting that logo on different elements. So t-shirts, business cards. 2 years ago, they did a branding for a local band. This year they did their personal brandings for their own business. So you do have that. There's the interaction design. You'll learn film, a little bit of film. So you're moving through this second year and taking everything that you've learned in first and starting to put everything together. So in that winter term of your second year, you're starting to build your portfolio. And your portfolio is going to be one of the most important items you're going to take with you at graduation. It's going to really showcase your best work, and it'll aid you in your employment search. A lot of times employers want to see your portfolio before they even will look at a resume or a cover letter. So we really get you going and have you leaving with a portfolio. And then that final term, you're going to do something called work integrated learning. It's a practicum. It's a work placement. It's 7 weeks. So you find an employer and you go and work for them for 7 weeks. And these are just some of the employers that our students have gone to work for. This year we have some others, Moonshine Creek, NB Power. I have students creating brands for 2 new companies. One is a barbershop in Northern New Brunswick. Another is a new company in Ontario. And I even have a student working in the Netherlands right now. So they have their final 2 weeks coming up. Yeah, they just started their final 2 weeks. It's crazy. I cannot believe it's already June. But yeah, so they're out working, and 3 of the students have been offered full-time employment based on their practicum. So yay, I'm really proud. I'm really proud of them. I think you'll find that all of the instructors, Norma, Debbie, and I, and your other instructors, we really take a lot of pride in what our students can accomplish in a really short amount of time. Some of you might be thinking, oh my gosh, 2 years, that seems so long. But in the whole scheme of things, it's not. And NBCC is going to, give you the training, give you the hands-on, give you all those projects. I have the exact same slide coming up that talks about a day in the life, and you're going to see projects. But we're getting you ready for employment, and it's really exciting. And we have a lot of pride as you move forward through that. So our software is primarily,
Ainsley,
yes.
I'm just gonna cut
we
you off.
can't see your
slide.
screen's not sharing anymore. I don't know if you realize that.
Oh,
Yeah.
for how long?
Just for the last few minutes when you were talking about practicum.
Oh, sugar. Well, just 1 second. I'll try again. Can you see it now?
Perfect.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Okay, so let me just go back a slide or two. Sorry about that, guys. Maybe I should just stick to So I was just saying these are some of the companies that my students have worked for. And yeah, so we're really quite proud of them. So our software is the Adobe Creative Suite. You will have Microsoft as well. And for my courses, so I teach a lot of the soft skills. I do teach Web and Dreamweaver, but that's really all the technical kind of let's get our hands dirty courses I teach. I'm more the soft skills. So with me, you will be using Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. But with Derek and Naomi, who are your 2 other instructors, they're really going to get you into the Adobe Creative Suite. So you use Photoshop, you use Illustrator, you use InDesign. You're going to be using XD and Dreamweaver and etc. Premiere is another one that you'll be using. So there's lots of software coming your way. And even though, we are touching on quite a few of these Adobe Creative Suite products, there's other ones there that because you have the 2 years that you're here, you have access to those. You can go in and try them, play around with them. I find that, there's some little interesting tutorials that will get you up and going with them. So certainly when Debbie and Norma were saying, you can go in and get 30-day trials with this software. If you want to go in and download it and try that before you come, that's definitely something that you can do. Last year, we tried to get everyone that had paid their tech fee, get them their link to their Adobe software before the first day of classes. So I would watch your inbox for an email closer to the end of August, first week of September from Adobe. And because, it's actually from us, but that'll get you started up with getting your Creative Suite. So our technology requirements, ours are changing a little bit. the information that you have now, that you can find the same link that was posted earlier, you can go in and those would be minimum requirements. But we are looking at the processor and the operating system because both Microsoft and the Mac, Adobe has updated their requirements for the processor and the operating system. So I didn't post all of my like what memory you need, what hard drive you need, because we are going to make a couple of changes. But certainly when you come to NBCC, you have access to a wireless network. All your software that you're going to need is provided to you. You can find that a lot of your learning will be delivered through technology. We have a learning management system called Brightspace, which your instructors will use to post your grades, post your assignments, post content that you'll need. So technology is a big thing of these three programs. And for the required software that we have, there is technical support for you by NBCC. So all of that stuff is provided for you. So again, you can go and check your minimum requirements, but that would be the minimum, like Debbie was saying. If you can go a bit higher, certainly do that. And we are a laptop program. So it's live is LIVE, learning integrated virtually everywhere. So we do recommend a laptop because you'll spend a couple of days on campus and some days at home. And the same question that a student had earlier, it can be difficult to bring your desktop computer back and forth to campus. So a day in a life, we've seen this slide, and it's made up of lectures and demos and labs, everything supported by that learning management system, Brightspace. And again, the good news and the bad news is there's lots and lots and lots of projects, but all these projects are getting you closer and closer and closer to being able to graduate. And we get you to do these projects because practice makes perfect. And so if you do it once, you go, yeah, I got it. We're like, nope, do it again. Do it again, do it again. And so, yeah, there are a lot of projects, and we do hear students be like, oh, not another project. But then at the end, and once they've graduated, we often hear back from them. We're like, we're so glad you made us do all those projects, because it's getting you used to what it's going to be like in the industry. So speaking of student projects, this is just some of our portfolio pieces that our students have pulled together. So you can see that there's billboards, there's t-shirts, there's magazines, book covers, Pine Heights. That actually was a whole branding project for a new hotel out west. The Avdels. That's a band. We do potato chip packaging. This year we partnered with the culinary students and did coffee. You can do vehicle wraps. In fact, two of my students right now are working on doing a vehicle wrap for a mobile, a mobile welding shop. And so my students will have their design on this huge transport trailer that will be driving around New Brunswick, and it'll be done and ready by September. So there's lots of lots of things that are happening, with our students and with our program. So did I lose the yeah, I lost the screen again, didn't I? I'll just give that very last screen. So that's really graphics in a nutshell. Like Debbie and Norma, they did cover the terms. You'll have tests, you'll have presentations. All of your instructors are very open for questions. So please make sure that you ask your instructors questions. Communication is key. And I think Norma and Debbie, you'll agree with me that, well, you've been at it 20 years. I'm teaching since 2013 at the college since 2015. But yeah, we love what we do. We love seeing our students grow and, become very successful in their field. So that is graphics.
I just sent a link. Thanks, Ainsley, too, just before Colby jumps in there. I know she's getting ready to, too. I just sent a link. Ainsley had some examples of artwork from graphic students, which it's a good idea. I just pumped in a link from a student that graduated last year from the animation program. So if you click on that link, you would see portfolio work and a demo reel as well, which would give you a really good idea of what is covered in the program too. So if you want to take a peek at that after we finish up, you could do that too.
Perfect. And I just wrote in the chat, but if anyone has any last minute questions regarding your program starting in September, feel free to ask them now. And you can also turn on your mic if you rather verbally ask.
Turn on your camera, wave to us.
Yeah.
We get lonely.
If you're too shy to ask the question here, Norma and Debbie and I have all added our email addresses to the chat. And oh, that's a good question from Dario.
Yeah.
Oh, what a wonderful question. Yes, there are. And that's something that, as Norma mentioned, the game development program is looking at some tweaking and revisioning. And we're hoping to even include a little bit more of that. So that's an excellent idea. We have done a little bit of it in the past. Like I say, Norma and I know each other pretty well and did share an office when we were on campus. So one would be saying to the other, when I was driving across the bridge, I had this idea. That's literally how a lot of our ideas start. But yeah, we have tried to join up different times. And when we've done that, we've had some really good results. And it's win-win for the students. It's a lot of fun because they get to meet more students and usually kind of experience a little bit of a different side of art as well, you know, whether they're animators jumping to game or gamers jumping into the animation world, because there's a really close connection to all three of the programs that we have here that we're talking about tonight. So yeah.
Also in the Jaloo Festival, not Jaloo, sorry, in the global game jams and such, the game jams that we do have at the college or the ones that are virtually done, there's a lot of connection between the animation students and the gaming students, because the animation students will get together and do all the artwork, like the backgrounds and the characters. And because it's usually a 2-day turnaround, they usually look pretty rushed, but man, they come up with some great ideas, and then the programmers pull it together and they make these really crazy game ideas come to life. So it's a real fun process. And I've seen in the past where some sad looking students get together on Friday night around 5 o'clock, and they bring sleeping bags and all kinds of snacks and such, and they sleep on the floors in the labs, and they program and design all night. And by the Saturday afternoon, their eyes are all just real red, but they're having a blast, and they just enjoy each other's company and create balance. So yeah.
And Norma has been known to sneak in treats to those game jam sessions too, and she's an incredible cook. So that's a fun little side note. I see that Lindsay had a little question here too. Is there anything you suggest buying for the animation program apart from the actual recommended supplies? I think as long as you have a good solid laptop, Lindsay, and a good solid drawing tablet, and then once you start in September, we'll have a list of supplies as well as far as what kind of pencils you should have specifically. And, you know, if you have a sketchbook already, wonderful. Break that sucker in and start to, you know, bend those pages and start to sketch. That's always a really good thing. So, yeah, but we'll give you more details on specific little kind of traditional type material that you might need. And our bookstore will carry those items as well. So. Great to see so many cameras on. I love it.
Mm-hmm. We have our students, a lot of our students right now are really shy. And they just come in and they're all we see as as instructors are all these little buttons on the side. So it's really nice to see a face to kind of build a community within the group too, because it's hard virtually to do that. So keep up that momentum when we get into our starting our classes. Hi,
Emma, there's two questions in here that I want to make sure we get to. The math question, I know, Norm, you probably should address that. But Emma, this question that you have, is there anywhere where students can talk to temporarily get to know each other? That's a fantastic suggestion. I don't know if that's been talked about or not, Colby. That's a great idea, though. Like, I know alumni, after you graduate, there's lots of places that...
So through the student union, if you guys use Facebook, look up NBCC Student Union. Last year, they ended up creating a lot of different groups and Facebook groups for people of similar interests, maybe in a similar sector, but it didn't have to be NBCC related. It could be maybe you love to paint or you like to go for hikes. And so it kind of connected people through their interests or maybe something new they want to try. So definitely check out the student union, NBCC Student Union.
I'm just looking up a little bit. I don't know if I'll be able to find it right now. I'm not the math teacher. I'm just going to say that right now, but we do have a really strong math teacher. I'm just looking up. So who sent that in the note there about math? What?
Jacob Hashing.
Jacob, okay. Jacob, if you send me an email, I probably would be able to find a few of the sort of the competencies of the courses, like especially for the first math where you start off, and I could send that out to you. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to find it right here. I wish I was the math teacher, but fundamentals of math, this might help. Fundamentals of math, discrete mathematics, linear algebra. Those are some of the courses that are here. So I'm going to type that right in here. Maybe that might help a little bit. Fundamentals of mathematics. I know it's probably one of the biggest struggles for most students. I'm not going to pull any punches on that. So anything that you can do to get prepared. E-M-A-T-I-C-S. Oh. And linear algebra. I know usually when they come in after a big math test, they usually look a little cross-eyed at me when I get them. They're like, we just finished Stephen's math exam, and they're all kind of like, oh. EBRI. So these are the ones, these are the actual courses I see here for math. There's also data structures. I don't know if you guys know much about data structures, but it also seems to be a pretty demanding course. Yeah. There's also another instructor in the game programming. His name is Darren Reed. He is probably one of the most active gamers I've ever seen. He lives and breathes and just everything gaming. So you could probably ask him a question that he wouldn't know about a certain game. So his real strength is just knowing the industry so well, and he's been teaching the C++ and C# and the coding languages. So he's an awesome help to that.
There's another game design question here. Is the sketchbook a requirement for the game development?
The sketchbook? You mean just the basic sketchbook? No. Especially now where things are online. Last year when I started in September, I had the students just do a little bit of art on like a sketch pad, like digitally. And some of them did it on paper and just took a picture of it and just sent it in. But really, don't worry about your sketching abilities. You are not going to fail this program because you can't draw, okay? I won't fail anybody. You guys are programmers. I just want to get you to a point that you can get some visuals together to get in front of an industry panel and pitch your game idea. Okay, so if you have a little Martian, I want you to create a Martian, like, you know, just whatever way you see it. So you're not going to fail because you can't draw. Keep that in mind. Okay. But I have had some students from gaming go over to Debbie's program. And I can pick these out really quickly because I see the passion when people get to do small little bits of storyboarding or artwork. And when I see the passion for the drawing, I sometimes might kind of come up to you in the classroom and say, are you sure you're in the right program? Because I think you loved all this drawing and all this kind of sketching seems to be where you get lost. And sometimes they kind of, by Christmas time, they go, yeah, I'm going to try animation. So, and that's okay. That's okay. It's better to find out than, you know, get all the way through. Any more questions? Animes have to be crazy. Yeah, I think a little bit. It doesn't hurt to be that way with gaming either. Students.
Norma, while you were talking, we went on some other tangents about pets and things. So you have a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, I know. I'm just reading here.
There's cats and dogs and all sorts of
Lindsay
things.
was asking, can we share our characters that we want to animate in a group or something? Lindsay, do you mean existing characters that you have right now and that you're hoping to eventually animate them? Oh, she's gone. Okay. I think she's gone.
I know for the programmers, you guys are probably all familiar maybe with Discord. I'm not quite sure. But that seems to be where everybody gravitates in Discord. So most likely if you're looking for a group of hangout areas, you'll find that the first years and second years kind of hang out there.
That's funny, Norma, because just as you said that, I pressed enter that says the graphic students use Discord. Woo. Great minds. There's Lindsay. She's coming back.
Okay. Yes, animation students can buy a sketchbook from the dollar store that's acceptable. There's smaller ones, and those are some of those little sketchbooks there are really good. So by all means, just sketch, 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 draw, draw, draw. So that's what's most important. But they do have some nice little drawing books as well. The black ones. I don't have one here right now that I can hold up, but. And Lindsay, we were asking your question, or we were starting to answer your question about characters. You were wondering about that too. Do you mean you have an existing character that you want to share with somebody that you hope to eventually be animating? Is that what you meant by that? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I have a character that I want to make into an animation. My computer doesn't. I don't have a chat.
Okay. I don't know if there's any place set up right now that you'd be able to do that. I see somebody on the side was talking about some sort of a link to create for upcoming students. So maybe if that gets done, that would be a good idea. But coming into the animation program, if you have suitable characters that you have been working on and you want to start to create animations and rigs for those characters, that would be awesome. You'll be a step ahead of the game.
All right, any last minute questions?
Just for the people that are showing up right here on the with the screen, any of you guys looking at coming to Miramichi, New Brunswick, or is everybody online? You're coming?
Dario's coming, it looks
Dario?
like.
Okay, awesome. Anybody else?
Harrison. Looks like Harrison is-
On.
Okay, cool.
Excellent. Perfect.
Looks like
Fantastic.
Well, it's a really, really big happening city. It's almost like another New York. Like it's just high rises everywhere. Just a lot of action happening.
Norma. So there's a lot of international students. So I always want to know how many of you have never seen snow? Because I saw someone on here that said they're coming from South Africa. So David, yeah. So it's summer. It's not summer. It's spring. It's heading into summer. When you arrive, it'll still be quite warm, but be prepared to layer clothing. And really don't save your money and buy your winter clothing here. Because if you live in a southern climate and you've never seen snow, your winter clothing will not suffice our winter weather. So just save your money, bring it, and buy your boots and your coats here.
You could use that as a layer for underwear, like underneath, kind of like runners do with their Gore-Tex and stuff. But you have to get heavy duty stuff here.
Yeah.
Minus 25.
We had a student from a few years back now, and he was from Africa, and in September he was sitting in the class with this huge parka on. It was a big joke because we thought, if you're cold now in Gala, you're going to be in trouble in January. But yeah, they're right. Buy your winter clothes here.
Yeah. But it's worth it. That first snowfall, even for me, and I've been in Canada for 50 years, and that first snowfall is still pretty magical. So I had a student cry last year, or two, like we were home this year, but 2 years ago in November when she saw her first snowfall, she cried. So, which would be if we traveled to your countries, there would be things that would make us cry because it would just be so amazing to see it. But snows are amazing weather here.
The student Debbie mentioned, his name was Ngala, and he was from Africa. And I was taking him home for Christmas to my farmhouse, and because he had no place to go. And in the middle of, we were going back the old road, I call it the old road. It started to snow, and he grabbed the dashboard and he said, "What is happening? What is happening?" Because he had never seen snow before. So I just pulled over in the middle of the road and let him get out and experience the snow. So that was pretty fantastic. Just 41 degrees here. Wow.
Yeah, I was asking, is it Celsius or Fahrenheit? Celsius, yeah. So I know, again, I've stuck on the student that's from South Africa. So South Africa is in winter right now. They're fall heading into winter, but they still don't get snow. So, because I have two friends that I communicate with quite frequently in South Africa. So my worst, oh, you were in Fort McMurray. Okay, so I have not even experienced that, Dario. That's crazy. 11 degrees. Emma, where are you, in Canada? Argentina winter too. Oh, yes. In Mexico. Hampton, 11 degrees. Yeah, Hampton. Oh, guys, I'm really glad that you guys came on tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
There haven't been many questions for graphics, but again, I'm available through email. And if you need to, we can do a face-to-face talk if you want. Yeah.
Perfect.
Anybody fresh out of high school? A few, yes. About to be, okay. Yep, in 2 weeks. Yeah, so that's what I call the newbies. Come right out of high school, yeah. It takes a little bit of adjustment coming from high school going into college, but a lot of people adapt well.
Debbie and Norma, for Miramichi, do you have a suggestion where people can look for rentals? There's Juan, I think it's Juan, has a family, so he's not just looking for a room, he's looking for accommodations for a family. Is there an online resource they can use?
There's one on the site, isn't there, for Miramichi?
Yes. So if you're on the NBCC.ca webpage, we don't provide housing, but there's some links there of where to look. If you use Facebook, there's also Rent in Miramichi. It's a Facebook group, and people like landlords will post if they have property for sale or a room to rent. So those would be two really big ones. If you kind of have any questions about that, feel free to email me at collegeworks@nbcc.ca, and I'll try to point you in the best direction to make it very smooth for you.
Yeah.
Was it College Works? I'll just type that in.
Yeah.
Works. Yeah, because it's a good idea to get your housing situated now and not wait.
It's hard because I think everybody knows the market around everywhere seems to be like really tough sometimes to get. So you have to search as early as you can if you're looking for a room or looking for an apartment or anything. Mm-hmm. Debbie has a dog.
I have a puppy. Ainsley has a puppy too.
I do. She's at my feet.
I have two leftover university cats from my kids. They took everything from me, including my money, and left me two cats.
Left you two cats. Yeah, but finding accommodations with a dog can be complicated.
Yeah.
You might, if any of you have vehicles, cars, even a little bit outside of town might be easier to find a place that is larger and, would take pets. Yeah.
There's also a transit bus available. Like we have two sort of towns, like there's three actually, but it's all one city. So there's a Chatham side of the river, there's the Newcastle side of the river, and then Douglastown in the middle. And that transit bus goes up around one bridge area and around the other, kind of like in a circle. And if you're living in one of the, say, Newcastle areas, you can get down to the college via the transit bus.
Yeah, actually, the college is really easy to get to on University Avenue because it just swings off of the main highway there. The market, like the job market, Moncton is a good location for graphic design graduates, and students are going to work everywhere. Some of them are working for small independent design houses. Some are working for large corporations. The market changes a bit every year, but our students are, they are finding jobs in Moncton and surrounding area. We have two big print. We have Advocate Printing and Master Packaging here in Moncton, so that helps as well. And when you look at the labor market information, Moncton is the hotspot for graphic designers. But then, of course, New Brunswick's not very big. It's not very big compared to the rest of Canada. It can seem big to people coming from other countries, but there would be graphic jobs all over the province. So, and I say that, but because of one of the plus things of COVID is that it really showed people that our jobs can be done at home and we can do things anywhere. So if you're taking animation, if you're taking game development, if you're taking graphics, you can be at your desk in Moncton and you can be working for, well, I have a student who's working for a company in the Netherlands. I have another student that's working for a company in Minnesota. I have a student that's with a company in Fredericton, but they work with Google, Orange Sprocket. And so they're doing projects for Google. So, you can have a job anywhere in the world, but still be sitting at a desk somewhere in New Brunswick. So that's one of the very big pluses of this pandemic is that companies realize, oh, I don't have to have an animator or a game developer or a graphic designer sitting in the same office as me. I can pick my talent from anywhere in the world. So you guys are going into some great programs.
So if that's all the questions for tonight, we will end the session. Just so you guys know, again, this was recorded and it will be available early next week. So Monday or Tuesday, once we have them all collected. If you do have any questions in the upcoming days, do not hesitate to reach out. You can find the emails in the chat, but also if you are on our webpage and you click the Contact Us button. So again, thank you so much for attending, and it was really nice to see your guys' faces and learning a little bit about you guys. So again, and thank you to Norma Ainsley and Debbie for helping out tonight.
Thanks, everyone.
Looking
There
forward
was one
to
more
meeting you
question,
guys.
Colby.
Was there?
Meeting you.
Yeah, from Lindsay. So Lindsay was wondering about the articulation agreements. So Lindsay, it depends on the institution that you're going to, but Limerick would be you do 2 years at NBCC, and in your final year at NBCC, you apply to go to Limerick for your final 2 years. The same thing, most of them are 2 years with us, 2 years with another school. We are looking at, we're looking at some other options for people that have a university degree already and then articulating to us. So kind of the pathway going either way. But yeah, there's phenomenal opportunities. And what I say to students and parents is that you can get a college diploma in 2 years and your tuition is about half of a university tuition. Then for your 3rd and 4th year, you step into a university program. So now you're getting a degree in 4 years, but you've paid much less tuition because you only paid 2 years tuition at the university rate. So your friends that go just to university, they're going to pay a lot more money and just have a degree. Those of you who do 2 years with us and then 2 years at an articulated university, you will have a diploma and a degree. You will have saved money. So more credentials, same amount of time, less money. And Limerick is one of them. We have articulation agreements with New Zealand and Australia. Depends on what program you're in, what school you're going to. And we have some with, UMBSJ, so right here in the province. So yeah, you do have to have really good grades to articulate, they usually look for 70% and above, but absolutely, if that's what you want to do, go for it. Oh, and the other one we have is with Department of National Defense, which is an articulation agreement, but you get paid. You get paid to continue to learn and work. So you'll learn about that.
It is set up for 1 year, but they also have a second year, which is a mentoring program where they choose some of the students to mentor. So it could be right out of school if you apply. My students are going through interviews right now, and if they get in, they'll be able to have 1 year there with the possibility of a second year for mentoring. So it's a paid, plus you get like an advanced certification for game programming or for animation, whatever you go into.
Yeah, so lots of options for after graduation. So I do think that's all the questions now.
Did we scare everyone?
Oh, we got lots of can't wait to meet you. Thanks a lot.
And just think, this is us at the end of a year. Just think of how much fun we're going to be at the first of the year when we have the summer off to relax.
Yeah. Scared a bit.
Scared a bit, yeah.
And it's okay to be, oh, there's another dog. It's okay to be scared. It's absolutely okay to be scared. You're not going to be the only one that's scared. So, and we're here to help you transition and we're friendly faces. Look at these friendly faces.
That's what's so great about online. You get to see all the pets.
Yeah.
And I have some students this year, the first years that come in. One little fella kept saying, "Excuse me, I have to go and let my cat out to have a pee." He's just so open there. So it's pretty cool. All term.
Yeah, actually online, I think we found out more about home life than we've ever found out about students before.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's a wrap, I think, guys, eh?
Yep.
48.